I first actually heard about Liberty Hockey about a month before school started. Dalton Stoltz had called me and asked if I wanted to play hockey. So I found out late, and then I had to go through all the paperwork to get in as a Canadian. And then I ended up coming about a week late, but it was probably about a month to 5 week turnaround from when I actually heard about the program and to when I was actually on campus starting school.
Yeah, we're actually playing in Roanoke at the ice station, and it was great. We had so much support from the student body, and we played at 11 o'clock at night, and it was just a lot of fun. And there was talk of the rink coming on campus, and it was a big recruiting draw for a lot of guys, and so it was just kind of a bonus, like icing on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah, I remember my first year here, we had a locker room with cabinets that were donated from an old player, and then we had practices at, I think it was 5 or 6 a.m. And I was always asking Kirk, I said, why are we practicing at 6 a.m. if this rink was built for us? And he kind of explained that there was a model in place, and just to see the old rink of where it was, and every year there would be small upgrades. You'd come back from summer and you'd see a new locker room or you'd see a new suite built. And it was just awesome to be a part of, and it's been one of the coolest things to be a part of too, and just to kind of see it play out from start to finish has been an awesome experience. After my first skate, I remember Kirk comes up to me and he asks if I want to play forward and just try out something else. So I had to reassure him that I hadn't been on skates for a while, and that I need to get in shape, and that I needed to get used to contact again.
He just looked off. I mean, he was playing men's league before he came, and he had just there's that point where you can look at a guy and you're like, okay, he looks the part, he can play the part kind of thing, and Dave did not look like he played the part at all. His skates were like just busted up, and he just looked bad. But you know what? Give the guy a chance and see what he can do, I guess, And so I remember, I can see it now. He was coming around the net and had his head down. He's used to men's league hockey, no contact, just kind of casual. Very, very, I guess, non-competitive, but also just trying to get some exercise. So he had the puck, I guess, and this other guy who was also trying out at the same time, who made the team as well, Steve Jensen, just big guy, great skater, strong guy, and just kind of leaned into Dave, and probably sent him 3 or 4 feet, horizontally into the boards. And it was one of those hits where the glass actually waves all the way around the rink. It was that hard, and you could almost see Dave was like, oh yeah, this is real hockey now. It's not Las Vegas men's league and just shoot, what's it called, stick and puck. Yeah, it's not, it's actually competitive. So that was my first impression of Dave on the ice.
Playing at Liberty is just a lot different. We used to go on 14, 15-hour road trips. I remember our first year we had about 6 or 8 of them. We were going up to St. Louis, to Michigan. We were going all over because we were a new team, so we spent a lot of time on the bus, not a lot of time sleeping, which don't regret at all, but we formed quite a good brotherhood with the group of freshmen that we had. We stayed together for 4 years, people like Kyle Dodson, Zach Bauman, to name a couple. And then a lot of the veterans just really kind of brought us in, and we were just kind of all in it together, and it was a good time. It was a good bonding time. And off the ice, I mean, there's too many memories to count. Him pretending to be a professor looking for his classroom, yelling at people from his car, and just this fro that he had was probably this big. And first game he came, he shaved a Fu Manchu, and he was in the starting lineup. And we were just like kind of embarrassed, but also laughing at the guy. And then he'd come out and do these men's league head fakes, and the seas would just part for him, and no one could figure it out, and he would just go and score. And he'd drive other teams crazy because
he shouldn't have done what he was able to do, but somehow it just worked out for him. And then, you know, here we are. He's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, and you know, we're you know, obviously very happy for the guy, and you know, he's just a great friend. He was a great teammate, and you know, we're definitely very happy for him. So.
Yeah, excited. We're having a second class of Hall of Fame inductees, and these are three great inductees. You know, with Dave, boy, you know, Dave came in. He was the first class who didn't have to play in Roanoke, so we can give him a hard time about that. But when he came in and the excitement of the brand new rink, he was in the first full year at the LaHaye Ice Center, and that year we also had a spectacular run at Nationals, made it to the Final Four, and really lost to a team who went undefeated that year. But Dave really established himself when he came in as a dominant hockey player, and one who really allowed us to grow our hockey program. And boy, since he left and graduated and came on as a GA for 1 week, might I add, and then came into a full-time job, he's really helped us continue to elevate our hockey program as a coach, and then in the last couple of years, and in particular the last year, as someone who's been directly involved with the construction of the LaHaye Ice Center. And he's done a wonderful job, and someone whose friendship I really appreciate, and whose loyalty to our program I really appreciate as well.
Before I hung up the phone with him, I had 10, 15 minutes of material to work with. And then, you know, Derek told me, he's like, hey, you got 5 minutes. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna fit it in, because there's just too much. And I was ecstatic just to come back and, you know, see Liberty and see the campus and stuff like that, and hang out with Dave and, you know, a couple of our other friends, Ryan Heffler and Kevin Dykstra, and you know, just a couple of guys that were, you know, part of our immediate friendship and you know, of that era, I guess you could say. We just had so much fun together, and it was, you know, as soon as I was calling around as well, hey, you know, Dave's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, it was, you know, the same response I gave to Dave. It was like, I'll be there, I'll take it off work, and you know, even if my kids are sick or my wife's sick or working, you know, we'll just try to make it happen, which, you know, they're willing to go in the doghouse for Dave, and you know, it's kind of a lame comparison, but you know, when we played hockey, Dave would do the same thing for us, and that was just part of the bond that we all had. You know, it's, you know, a comparison of real life, I guess, you know, so to speak. So a friendship from a couple of years ago has definitely lasted, and you know, that's why we're all here. So.